Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. In today's vlog, I'm going to be talking about my top tips for how to start your fitness journey. I have been on my fitness journey for a little while now, and we are so lucky that this day and age there are so many videos and blogs and articles out there on the internet that help you get started, but there are also just a lot of things out there that people don't mention. And I don't think it's because they're not important. I think it's because a lot of people think that they're givens. But when it comes to starting a journey like this that is so life-altering and life-changing, there are no givens. So today, some of these tips you might have heard of before, but I think a lot of them are things that people kind of surpass and maybe expect that people already know, but I definitely did not know when I was starting my fitness journey. Hopefully these tips help you in some way and get you started on your fitness journey. I'm definitely so glad that I have started mine. I feel like my life has really changed in the past few months just from like the tiniest life-altering details. If you like this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and click subscribe down below so that you never miss another video. Okay, so I just went grocery shopping and we really didn't need that much. We had kind of like all the basics and everything. We just need like a little bit more meat, a little bit more vegetables, and stuff to make my favorite breakfast sandwiches. If you had told me even like 1 year ago that I would be eating breakfast sandwiches every morning for breakfast, I would look at you like you're absolutely crazy. My entire life, I've always absolutely hated eggs. Like actually so gross, wouldn't even touch them. I would only eat them in things that like you literally can't taste them in, like cake. But recently, I actually started liking eggs. This is because I actually, for the first time in my life, really gave them a chance. And I still can't eat eggs like totally plain. Like I can't really eat like an omelet or just like straight up plain scrambled eggs or like any kind of like egg where the yolk like breaks and it's like gooey. Ugh. But you can eat eggs in so many other ways that I didn't even realize. So that brings me to tip number 1, and that is try new things. There are so many different foods out there that a bunch of Fitspo Instagrammers and health gurus and YouTubers say that are like super delicious but also super healthy for you, and you might look at that item and say, oh my god, that looks so disgusting, and you just don't even want to try it, so you start looking for an alternative. But really just like give it a chance, and you don't have to eat it in the way that somebody else prepares it. I can't eat an omelet, I can't eat just plain eggs, but I can eat them in a healthy breakfast sandwich or in a healthy breakfast hash. So really just put yourself out there, try new things, and try them in different ways. The way that I really got into breakfast sandwiches was actually from Starbucks, the bacon, Gouda, and egg sandwich. Ooh, it is so good. So I started making the healthier version of it here at home. It's literally just eggs. They use a brioche bun, but I have been using these bagel thins. I got some everything ones and plain ones just so I can like switch it up. And then I got some Gouda cheese. This is the most unhealthy part, but if you're literally just eating one slice of cheese a day, I really don't think that's that bad for you. And then for mine, I use turkey bacon instead of regular bacon, which turkey bacon is really not bad for you at all. The sodium is so low, the calories are low, there's almost no fat. It is honestly a really great alternative. And I have now found a breakfast that is healthy, easy to make, and great for on the go, which is honestly my morning because I spend like literally 20 minutes getting ready. And this is what the finished product looks like. I made an everything one and a plain one. And then I kind of had this assembly process, so the bacon, the cheese, and the bagels. And I made myself a salad for lunch. It's super good. But I basically put all the eggs in the oven on this sheet and cut them into squares. And then I assemble it here. Which brings me to my next tip, and that is to meal prep. Meal prep is so important, and you're gonna hear this from every single person out there that this is so crucial to starting your fitness journey. Because if you don't have prepped food in the fridge, whether that be snacks or whole meals, when you're hungry, you're gonna dive for those cookies or those potato chips because they're right there, they're so easy, and you're hungry. I meal prep all of my lunches for work so that I'm not tempted to buy any unhealthy food at our cafe. It's literally just like hamburgers and french fries and onion rings and a bunch of fried stuff. I don't want to be tempted to buy it, so I always prep my lunch. And I also don't want to be tempted to stop for breakfast somewhere either, because not only does that get expensive, but it's also unhealthy as well. That's why I pre-make these sandwiches, I take it on the go, I eat it in the car, and then I eat my pre-prepped meal for lunch. Dinner is a little bit tricky for me. I don't always pre-prep dinner, and I do come home really hungry. But another thing that you can do is prep ingredients. So I might just like pre-chop some vegetables or pre-roast some vegetables, something like that, and then like have the meat defrosting in the fridge and ready to go. And just those little steps help me so much and make dinner so much easier. So if you don't have time to completely prep a whole meal, at least try to prep your ingredients to make cooking go a lot simpler. I've heard a lot of different percentages, but I think what I hear the most is that when you're starting a new fitness journey or trying to lose weight or something like that, that it's 80% eating and 20% activities. So today, all of the tips that I'm going to be giving you are mainly food focused because that is the most important part in starting a health journey. Always be drinking your water too, which is not one of my tips for today. I feel like that one really is a given, but definitely always be drinking your water. Okay, I had to change because it's literally just like way too hot in here right now. But you may be looking at these breakfast sandwiches and say, wow, Teresa, that looks like a lot of carbs. And that brings me to my third tip, and that is that carbs are not the enemy. I am done meal prepping now, so we are going to let the hair down. A lot of people have been saying this, that carbs are not the enemy for a little while now, but I still think that there are a ton of people out there that still do think that carbs are the enemy when it comes to weight loss. If we flash back to just 1 year ago, I definitely overate in carbs in a bad way. All I ate was bagels slathered in butter, pasta slathered in butter, and a ton of potatoes. And something that I actually never knew is that vegetables and fruit have carbs in them. Like, what? And those are definitely healthy things to eat. So there are definitely healthy carb sources. It's definitely fine to eat carbs in moderation. You don't need to cut it out of your diet in order to lose weight or to start your fitness journey. And that actually brings me to my next point, which when you are first starting your fitness journey, like really just looking at food and looking at physical activity for the very first time, I do recommend that you track your macros, or tracking your eating, if you will. There are a lot of people out there that do not track their macros because they kind of developed a unhealthy mental habit with it, just like over tracking and like not letting themselves go over or under by like a tiny bit, which is definitely not a healthy way to look at it. But honestly, when I was first starting, I had no idea what I was putting into my body. I was like kind of looking at things like, oh, this chicken has protein in it. These vegetables are obviously good for me. I ate, less carbs today, like no pasta or less rice or whatever. But honestly, I had no idea what the calories were and what the actual makeup of the food was. Once I started tracking, I not only found that I was way overeating for my body type, but I also just wasn't eating the right foods. I originally thought that carbs were bad, and that's why I included that as one of my points. So I was actually way under eating for carbs, and I was trying to make up for it in protein and healthy fats, but I honestly was not eating enough of those, or not as much as I thought I was, so it wasn't making up for the carbs. So honestly, my diet was a complete mess, and I had no idea. Taking a little bit of time right in the beginning to track what you're eating, just to figure out what you're eating right now even, is going to be so helpful. I suggest before you even start changing what you're eating or anything like that, just kind of take one day and track all your food and just see where you're at right now. Some people discover that they're under eating. Some people discover they're overeating. Maybe you're eating way too many carbs and not enough protein. There's honestly just so much to figure out, and it's actually really cool to kind of look at that very first day when you're first starting your fitness journey, to look at, this is where I started, and eventually in the future to where you are then. My next tip is to start with what you know. Starting a fitness journey is a lot of work. There's definitely tons of research to be done, tons of trial and error figuring out what works for you, what doesn't. But there are definitely so many things out there that are subconsciously in the back of your brain that you already know about what it takes to start a fitness journey or begin a healthy lifestyle. For example, you probably know that Doritos aren't very good for you. So next time you go to the grocery store and you're thinking about getting Doritos, try to find a healthy alternative instead. You probably also know that vegetables are really important. So maybe next time you go to the store, then you pick up a lot more vegetables than you're used to. Just little things like that that you probably already know, you just haven't implemented into your daily lifestyle yet, that will seriously make such a difference. You definitely know a lot more than you think you know, so try to dig into those roots or dig into that subconscious and stick to the basics. My next tip is portion control, and this is seriously so important, but also one of the hardest tips to implement. I think overeating is something that a lot of people can relate to, and it's honestly really hard to prevent and avoid. Like I said, I like to meal prep all of my lunches, and this definitely helps me from overeating during lunch because I work in an office, so whatever I bring is what I have. And that's why meal prep is so important, because you can perfectly proportion your meal to what you want to eat. Even if you work from home, you can still do meal prep and just have this ready in the fridge. That way, when it's time for lunch, you just pull it out, put it in the microwave, eat it, and you don't have to worry about making too much of something. This can be hard when it comes to eating out at restaurants. Restaurants definitely serve you more than a normal portion is. Last time I went to Cheesecake Factory, I ordered from the Skinny Licious menu because I thought it was gonna be healthier. I was with Colin and he got his meal. Turns out my meal was just a third of the size of his. It was a third of the size because it was a third of the calories. So we paid the exact same for both of our meals, but he just got 3 times the amount more food. So definitely don't recommend ordering off of the Skinny Licious menu at Cheesecake Factory. Just order a normal meal and eat like 1/3 of it. You can even ask a server to pre-package like half of your meal so that you don't even have to look at it and you don't feel the need to finish it. You do not need to live by the rule of Clean Plate Club. Live by what your body can handle. Now, I make turkey meatballs for lunch pretty regularly and I absolutely love them, but I definitely did not used to like turkey. And that brings me into my next tip, which is eat healthy foods that you like. This was definitely something I completely ignored early on in my fitness journey. I would look at these fitness inspiration people and what they were eating in a day, and I was like, oh, I need to eat that. And then I would go and try it, and it was absolutely disgusting. I hated it. Like oatmeal? Do you know how many times I've tried to force myself to eat oatmeal? It's just not gonna happen. I hate oatmeal. So no matter how many times somebody says that oatmeal is healthy and it's a great breakfast, I'm not gonna eat it. And I'm gonna go ahead and eat my healthy breakfast sandwiches that I prep in the freezer. Just because it's healthy and just because someone who is an inspiration to you eats it doesn't mean that you need to eat it. You need to find your own healthy foods that you actually enjoy eating, or else this healthy lifestyle isn't gonna stick. If I kept forcing myself to eat oatmeal every day, there is no freaking way I would continue this health and fitness journey because I would just be miserable. To each their own, everyone has different taste buds and different palates. So while you're on this journey, because this is a lifestyle, not a diet, make sure that you're eating foods that you actually enjoy. You don't need to go and make turkey meatballs the way I do. If you don't like ground turkey, a lot of people don't. A lot of people think it's disgusting. Don't make these. Make something else. My final tip for you today is to take body measurements. There is so much talk out there about how the scale is just like a negative relationship. You get on the scale, you expect it to be lower, and it's seriously just not the best way to measure your health and fitness. It's okay if you want to weigh yourself, and I definitely do now and then just because like I'm curious what my weight is. I actually got one of those digital scales that like tells you your bone mass and your body fat percentage and your water weight and stuff like that. So I just find that interesting. I don't even know if it's like 100% correct. I mean, there's no way it is 100% correct, but it's honestly just really interesting to me. I know there are a lot of people out there who have a negative association with the scale, and if you are one of those people, it's okay if you don't want to use the scale, but you still want to see if you're making progress. Taking progress pictures is absolutely great. It can definitely give you that boost of confidence, even if you just see the slightest difference in your physique, and it definitely just like keeps your motivation up, keeps you going, but also really important that a lot of people forget about is also taking measurements. Sometimes in a progress picture, the difference can be so small that you can't tell in a picture, but if you're actually measuring yourself, you can see that difference. You could be making all of this great progress, you measured yourself in the beginning, you go to measure yourself, and maybe you lost 1/2 centimeter difference in your hips. That's definitely not something that a camera would pick up, but you would know because you did those initial measurements. So I highly encourage you not only to take progress pics, but also take all of your measurements. And I do mean all of them, like bust and waist and hips and anything that you want to see a difference in. take a measurement for. Alright guys, that's going to be all for today's video. I hope that these tips help you out in some way in starting your fitness journey. These are all things that I implement into my daily routine and I find really important. I definitely wish I knew some of these when I was first starting my fitness journey, but now that I'm implementing them every single day, it has made such a difference. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!